New Year. It's January and we're really excited. We have some great news this month and we have a lot of new volunteers with us. Amazing people who were working like the past 10 days on making this a great day, great morning. Who's the, مين أول مرة يجي Creative Mornings؟ welcome. And we have some regular people that I see a lot. Please raise your hand if you. Yes, Shahad, Bakir, Zain. I don't know all your names, but yes, I recognize the faces. I'm glad. Nasib, where are you? I saw you. طيب. So let's talk about Creative Mornings. Creative Mornings runs in 200 cities. ممكن نحكي للبابا برضه ليكم عشان الصوت. طيب. So Creative Mornings runs in 200 cities around the world. So if you're traveling, check on the website if that city has Creative Mornings, and you might be able to attend a talk. And I went to London; it was really nice, but they start much earlier, 8:30, and it's on a weekday, so they go on a Friday. تفضلوا الناس اللي بتوصل grab a chair. Okay. طيب. Sorry about the in-between thing. طيب, where were we? Okay, I want to thank Ustaz Sami Kurdi for giving us this amazing space تابع للسنبلة. So كيف شايفوا في المنظر؟ هذا ثالث event عندنا هنا، وإن شاء الله بنكمل معاهم. So they're sponsoring our Creative Mornings for the rest of the year. Cup coffee معانا for الحين 2 months, and we're very so they're our main coffee partner. We have Kareem. Who came today with Kareem? Okay, bravo. طيب ما شاء الله. Okay, and I want to introduce our amazing life-saving partner, new partner, who are sponsoring us for this whole year for 2019, and it's a great match. Their values and what they do is very related to Creative Mornings in terms of working with youth, in terms of creativity, connection, development. So a big applause to the BMG who are in the house with us, and we're so excited for this amazing partnership to grow Creative Mornings. So we're able to do more things. We're able to do field trips. We're able to really expand our activities more than just the one hub. So I want to introduce Ms. Widad Baroudi, who will give us a little bit of an introduction about BMG's activities. تفضلي.
Thank you, Hannah, for your kind words. Again, I am Widad Baroudi, and it's my pleasure to, on behalf of BMG Foundation, to welcome you all here today. We are very delighted to announce our partnership with the Creative Morning community events, as we have heard a lot about this Creative Morning where people get inspired, learn, connect with creative people from different creative organizations, to exchange innovative ideas and to support each other. So we are very excited to be part of such lecture series and to meet such amazing people like you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce our organization briefly. BMG Foundation was established 23 years ago by our chairman, Mr. Basil Al-Ghalayini. It's a non-profit organization that through art, music, and sports supports noble awareness campaigns, safe driving, life-saving, our water, our life, and our health, our crown. The foundation functions through 3 essential pillars. Number 1, the GCC Polo Cup. Number 2, the Diplomacy of Art program. And number 3 is the awareness campaigns. Let's start with the GCC Polo Cup that takes place in London. It's with presence of the Saudi and British royal families. It's an annual equestrian event that bringing or bridging business, social, philanthropic networks between the most influential business leaders of the East and the West. As for the Diplomacy of Art, it is a unique program where the foundation invites an international artist to exhibit his or her artworks in Saudi Arabia in cooperation with his or her diplomatic mission. The Diplomacy of Art initiative aims at stimulating the young mind of the young local, instill a culture of artistic appreciation and understanding. Lastly, the awareness campaigns or BMG awareness campaigns focus on bringing on positive changes throughout the youth in Saudi Arabia, and the BMG Foundation mission is to work creatively to serve the community through its noble awareness campaigns, safe driving, life saving, and our water, our life, and our health, our crown, that guide the younger generation to the right path of safe driving, water conservation, and healthy lifestyle. Once more again, on behalf of the BMG Foundation, I would like to welcome you. It's wonderful to see so many of you here. And we do hope to have long and successful partnership with Creative Morning community. We aspire with this unique partnership to bring on positive impacts across our beloved community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Vedad. We're really excited as well. And we'd love to hear also from everyone here, maybe not today, but over the next few weeks, if you have ideas to have field trips, as I said. It's something that other cities do. It's an extra thing. So after the main mountain walk, there's like other side activities that we could maybe look into, inshallah. I want to also thank the global sponsors who make Creative Mornings possible, who run the headquarters team back in New York. WordPress, Adobe, MailChimp are the main drive behind managing us, the hosts around the globe. And they do a summit once every 2 years. So inshallah, we're planning to attend the summit in the US in 2020. So fingers crossed. It's part of one of our dreams. Let us introduce our speaker. Given my introduce, what did you write about your tags? What's your most surreal experience? Coming here. I love that. Thank you. Anyone else? Standing on stage. Yes?
Climbing a mountain. Climbing a mountain in
Climbing a mountain in Japan. That's unique. Was it cold? Was it hot?
Cold.
Cold. Yeah? No? Okay, I think my most surreal experience thus far has been driving in Jeddah. Every day has been so surreal. I have no idea. I'm documenting it on my Instagram. It's so weird and so amazing. So many emotions. I want to introduce Miss Ammal Farahat, who is our speaker for Surreal. And Miss Ammal has been among the first captain with Kareem and مدربة, a trainer with the جمعية السعودية للسلامة البلورية. So I love how it matches with the BMG safety, driving safe and safety. And yes, تفضلي Miss Ammal, big applause.
Just at the beginning, anybody here that prefers I speak only English?
Yes, we have a few
Only English speakers. But, okay. So,
more in English than Arabic. So, good morning. Introduce myself first of all. My name is Ammal Farahat. This way better? Okay. My name is Ammal Farahat. I'm the first Kareem Captina, and I'm also a trainer for Jam'iyat al-Salama, which is road safety and traffic organization. During my time, or while driving as Kareem Captina, it was surreal for me because I got to have people from all kinds of walks of life, different people riding in my car, and I met them that normally I would have never met. And because the driving experience was new, everybody was always eager to talk. So I had conversations and insights about not just life, about Saudi Arabia, that I'd like to share some of them with you today. I'd like to first start off, one of my biggest experiences that really hit me really hard was one day, one of the first rides, received a request to some apartments, and a family of 3, an elderly gentleman with a woman that was fully covered, couldn't recognize anything of her, and a little car. Of course, the gentleman came, he wanted to sit in front, and he was literally like, huh? A woman? And I smiled. Inside, my heart was beating, and I was like, oh shit. And I said, you have to sit in the back, but the young lady with you can sit in front. And he was still in shock. And in the back, I hear this voice, somebody clapping, and she's going like, yes, Baba, you're going to the back, it's my turn. And she sat in front, and as soon as she got in, she took out her phone, and was about to take pictures, and then she's like, is it okay if I take pictures? I'm like, yeah, sure. And the entire time, she's taking selfies, and we're driving, and had a little bit of a conversation. Turns out she was his daughter, and the little girl was her daughter. She's divorced, 26 years old, her daughter 6 years old. They came from Abha for a couple of days. And while we're driving, she said, I'm really excited. This is so nice to see. I didn't think women were actually driving. And you seem like a very nice person, but why you and not me? And immediately, I put on my executive director hat, and I'm like, yeah, why not you? What's so special about me? Told her nothing. And I already in my head had all this plan, how I'm going to talk to her and convince her this could be her. Why doesn't she become a Kareem Captina? Kareem exists in Abha. She wants to learn to drive. Her dad, her brothers. She needs a car. Well, Kareem has a deal. Prince Walid bin Talad's foundation is giving Kareem cars for women to drive. So I don't see any obstacles. And I was ready, like, okay, how am I going to my sister's a life coach, so I get a lot of information how to talk to people and to make it their idea. And that was my plan. And I said, okay, let's look at it. What do you need to become a Kareem Captina? She looks at me and she says, my daughter is in 1st grade. Usually my father walks her to school and then comes back. But he was sick that day. He couldn't take her. And I want my daughter to know how important education is. And no matter what happens, she has to go to school. So I walked her to school, stayed with her for a while. She finished whatever was important, and I walked back because I didn't want to walk back in the street alone. When I came back, my brother was standing, left his work, and was waiting for me behind the door. And he beat the shit out of me. She couldn't walk for 2 days or get out of bed. That immediately felt like, wow. Now I know in this case, alhamdulillah, I don't have a brother or father that would beat me up. Actually, they're very fully supportive. But I'm going to talk to you more about me and how my journey, how it became Kareem Captina, and to see why was it me and not anybody else, either here or anywhere else. Like many Saudis, I'm half Saudi, half Western, actually half German. I was born back in 1973. It's a while back. I grew up, my early childhood was in the US, going to school, pledging allegiance to the flag. I don't know if anybody you know. At my time in the States, first beginning of class, everybody stands up, put your right hand on your heart, and you pledge allegiance to the flag. And I still remember when I had to lead the class. And I was a latchkey child. A latchkey child, for some of you that don't know, as a necklace, I had our house key. I would walk to school in the morning. After I finished school, walk back home, put my bags, and actually at the time, my father was concerned about me being Muslim enough. I did pray, ran out, met my friends in the playground, played whatever we want, wherever we wanted. We had bicycles on the streets, in the playground. By the sun, I knew, okay, it's time to go home. My parents would be home, and we'd prepare for dinner and going to bed. So I had a pretty, I'd say, a privileged and happy early childhood with lots of freedom. Today, sometimes when I think about it, it's like, I'll let my son go walk to school alone? Yeah, I'll have a GPS somewhere inside of him. But that freedom did me really good. I learned a lot. Then, in 1982, we flew back to Saudi Arabia. And my father was telling me, this is home. This is what it looked like to me. It was very beige. Actually, it was Riyadh. Lots of dust and sand. And no parks. School, there was a huge fence around where, to me in my school, there was the playground. It was open any moment I wanted to leave school and go home. I could have. Nobody thought about it. Security guard standing in front of the door. Once you go in, you can't go out, even if you're going to die. A driver and a housemaid picking me up everywhere I go, a shadow, and a small apartment. I would look down at the street with the boys playing. I was like, I want to go there too. No, you're a girl. You stay home and act like a girl. In school, once I remember, I finally got the girls to play a game. Let's race. Took a long time of convincing that running is actually, girls can run. And once they started and we got into it, the teachers came. This is no way for a girl to behave. These are boy games. So we stopped. My biggest entertainment was, because even then we only had Saudi TV 1 channel. When I wanted to ride a bike, this was it, stationary bike. Khalas. This is home. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is what life is from now on. I just have to accept it and live with it. And whatever happened in the past, those are nice memories. And it kept on going until I made it to high school. This is what my high school looked like. So I don't know if anybody's familiar with Riyadh. It was in Nassim, because my mom taught at the same school. And it was really fun being a teacher's daughter. It started kind of a glimpse of a wind of change. Something's going to change. By the women that protested and said, we want to drive. And in my family, it was like, yes, you go, girls. But at school, it was a different story. My teachers, for a week, every single teacher that came into class would come in and say, have you heard about those women? What are they doing to us? We don't want to drive. It's absurd. No woman in her right mind would want to do this. Don't you know, our men are lazy. Next thing you know, you're going to be 9 months pregnant, going into labor, and instead of you taking you to the hospital, he's going to say, honey, here's the keys. Go yourself. Or while we're all busy shopping and running around for our kids, he's going to go off and get married. So we don't want to drive. And then from everybody in class, Ammal, you agree with me, don't you? Because they knew my mom was German. And I had to make sure I'm on their side. They're like, okay. No, you tell the class. Women in Germany, they're not women, are they? They're men. There's nothing feminine about them, and we don't want to be like that, right? If you say so. And to make things even better, right around the same time, the Gulf War happened. And here, of course, there was like a big area, kind of open area. So every morning, for the first period, the whole school, we would sit there, and one of the teachers from the mosque, or religion teacher, would tell us how the Gulf War was all our fault. We women wanted to drive. We didn't cover properly. So we have to pray more, cover more, or this Gulf War is not going to go away. Imagine listening. It's really fun listening to that every morning. Sometime within 2 minutes you tune away and you become really good at braiding other girls' hairs. But at home, it was a little bit of a different story. My father took me and my sister Reem to the desert in the car, and he taught us how to drive. I was around 16 and she was 14. He said, if anything happens, you put your siblings in the car and you drive. You go as fast as you can to Mecca. Because that's where my uncles, everybody, the whole family was in Mecca. And you just go. Don't look back. You just keep on going. Kind of like, you know the movies Zombie Apocalypses? That was our zombie apocalypse. Alhamdulillah, nothing happened. Years went by, everything went as normal. As you know, things went back to normal, nothing changed. I went to school, university, got various jobs. One of the most adventurous things I did was in Riyadh learn how to dive, scuba diving. Got married, had kids, got divorced, kept the kids. And then 2018 happened. And one morning I'm looking at my phone and I receive a WhatsApp. Women are going to be driving. I'm like, yeah, right. I was like, Reem. She's always really good at finding out information, is it true or not. Reem, did you hear? They say women are going to be driving. She's like, yeah, I saw it. We've been getting those for years. But, yeah, it's no harm. Let's just double check. We both go on our phones. It was kind of a competition. Who's going to get the truth faster? Normally, it's always her. But I still like to do it for fun. For me, the first thing I saw was an advertisement from Kareem. مبروك للمرأة السعودية انضمي إلينا. Join us as a captain. I'm like, wait a minute. A company like Kareem wouldn't do something like that if it wasn't true. And then Reem comes like, Ammal, it's true. It's actually going to happen. For me, what I remembered, during my teenage years, there was a movie, a Syrian movie, غادة الشمعة. أحد سمع فيه سواقة التاكسي. She was a taxi driver. And of course, everybody around her was saying like how horrible that is. What an awful person. You don't do that. No respectable woman drives a taxi. And at the time back home, it was like no respectable girl rides in a taxi even. But I remembered when I saw that movie, I wanted to be like her. And that teenage little girl inside of me was like, oh, I want to do it! I want to do it! And I'm like, what? You're 45 years old. You're not a teenager anymore. I mean, if it was 20 years before, yeah, okay. Live your dreams, but not at 45 and a mother of 2. But she's like, wait a minute, come on, you always say there's no such thing as luck. It's about opportunities. You're prepared. You see an opportunity, you take it. Yeah, well, that's just talk I say to people. It's like, if somebody else does this, it's not you, you're going to be upset. You're going to go, why not me? How many ideas did you have, and you thought you knew inside they were brilliant ideas, but you didn't do anything about it, and a few weeks or a few months later, even sometimes years later, somebody else did it, and it was a big success. And you kicked yourself for not following your instinct or your intuition. Why not now? Well, for starters, I'm not really actually prepared. I have an American driver's license, but not a Saudi. Well, apply. At the time it was a bit difficult, but we actually went to Mecca. My father finally put us all in the car, and we drove as fast as we could to Mecca. That's with my mom, my sister, my daughter, and my niece, all the girls in the family. And we went and got our driver's license. 27th of Ramadan. We actually thought it's not going to happen anymore. And I goes like, okay, I've got my license. What else? Everything is there. Got another message from Kareem. And I just, called them up. You guys need a captain, perhaps? They were like, yes! We're actually looking for women. We had somebody, but they didn't get their licenses. It's like, well, I've got mine. So that's how I... And it was a very surreal experience. Like I said, I met lots of people that I never thought I would ever meet. Actually, never even knew they existed, and talking to them, and like the head of traffic in Murur talking to us and explaining to us all kinds of things. I was trying to get myself out of a traffic ticket I got. I was actually going over a red light. 3,000 riyals at the time. Now it's 10, by the way, if you didn't know. 10,000 riyals now. So be careful with those, with Sahir. One of the things was also really weird for me, picking up, to me they're young girls, from the university. And I get there, I find a man standing downstairs. I'm thinking about that girl that told me before her story where she was beat up. And now it's all of a sudden she's asking, can me and my husband take a selfie with you and post it on Instagram or Snapchat? And I'm like, yeah. Taking somebody, actually just us girls, here to Kermesh, riding a bike. But one of the things really, really stuck in my head while driving, first of all, I remembered how driving used to be, sitting in the back, and the types of car accidents we used to see on the road, stories we'd hear about people I know dying in car accidents. When I was working in the hospital, a lot of the patients were long-term patients from car accidents, which horrific stories I'll never forget in my life. And I noticed our streets are much, much better, but we still have a long way to go. And actually one of the passengers, I had actually two gentlemen from Riyadh that were here on a workshop get in the car, and the last was like, is this allowed? And they're talking to me like as if we're actually dating. And they're telling me, it was like, you're driving, you drive nice, but this doesn't work in Saudi. You have to be more aggressive. Just don't let people cut you off. Just put your foot on the pedal and push with the gas. And just, I'm like, well, but am I driving, is this the right way to drive or not? Yeah, you are driving, this is how you should be driving. It's like, well, I decided, well, that's the type of driver I want to be. And I realized, because there's a lot of people, after a while when you're spending hours and hours, like some days I spend 8 hours out on the streets driving around. And I actually salute every Kareem and Uber captain out there. It is exhausting, because it's not just the driving, it's the wonderful and friendly customers in the back that have all kinds of wonderful requests and wonder why you can't cater to every need they have. But I decided also every day, actually Reem was the one that reminded me, like every morning ask, what kind of day do I want to have today? When I first wake up, I make that decision. And throughout the day, I remind myself, I decided I want to have a good day. Is this going to continue or are we going to stop? Same thing, before I drive, I think to myself, what kind of driver do I want to be? And I keep that in mind no matter how anybody else drives. I remind myself, do I want to be an aggressive driver or do I want to be a safe driver? Eventually others are going to catch on. And I also found, when I was going for the events, any event for women driving, I was there, my sister and I, and we found Jam'iyyat al-Salama. Stood at their booth, and actually Miss Amani is here, and Ustadha Suad. They can later tell you more about the Jam'iyyah, but Miss Amani is the one I met, and she told me about the society. It's a non-profit organization. They've been around before. It was always geared for men, of course, but they always had people asking Dr. Ali. The women were most interested. So once women are able to drive, they started creating different types of workshops. They have members and trainers to conduct the workshops. And I found them actually very interesting and very helpful. Many women, even women that don't have driver's license, attend the workshops because being as a passenger in the car, to be responsible passengers and help their husbands or their sons how to drive properly. And they make sure they hold on to the laws, what they learned. And many of the women would say, well, oh, I didn't know by talking to my son while driving, I could be distracting him or arguing in the back. That's why the driver, when he says, I can't focus, or I'm sorry, ma'am, they understood. So some of the workshops, so they're all in Arabic, but it's about ethics and how to drive safely, driving skills. It's a lot about the regulations and so on. They also have simulations, because some women, even going to the driving school, they've never even imagined they're sitting behind the wheel, and they spend like 2 or 3 hours. One of the trainers at the driving school told us this, that the women, first of all, they have to get over their fear. They just sit, not even turning on the engine. They get a panic attack and start crying. So they have to get over this, and this is some of the workshops that they offer. One of the very good ones is buses, schools, how the kids are supposed to get in and out of the bus, where the bus is supposed to stop so the kids stay safe. In the bus, how do they behave? No jumping up and down, sitting in your place. And the bus driver, we go around to schools and do workshops. Trainers to continue more workshops. One of my favorite is in case of a car accident. What do you do? Learning first aid. If somebody's bleeding or hurt, how can you help them until the ambulance arrives? Which I think is a very important thing, because a lot of women, from my experience, we don't know what to do. It's like, oh, she fell. Okay, let's pull her to the side of the road just to get out of the way. It's like, when you just pulled her, you just dislocated her neck a little bit more. And at the end, if you have questions for them, they can specifically, they're here, they can answer. And towards the end, it's not very, okay. What I've learned, I'm the type, I used to look at everything. I see everything, I like everything, I want to do everything. I learned how to be focused. Have a goal and focus on it. Don't get distracted. And whenever, if you feel like so dark and gloomy, keep your eyes on the light at the end of the tunnel and keep going for it. However, what do we find in the darkest places and in tunnels? That's where we get diamonds and emeralds and gems. So it's good to be focused, but also once in a while, just look around you. You might find opportunities lying around that just waiting for someone to take them. And thank you. If anybody has any questions. I don't need this.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It was a great audience. Usually I have people that are always butting in, kind of talking. So if anybody has any questions about anything. So,
Assalamu alaikum. The chairman of safety. I'm very proud that you are part of our society. Ammal Farahat is the trainer of society safety. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I'm hearing her story about, what she did in the past, and what she was able to do in the past. So the question now is, what's the difference between the past and the current state, the current situation? It's very big and positive difference towards women. MashaAllah, women now, they are doing great efforts while driving. They drive so defensive. They drive great actions in the road. Based on the traffic statistics from the traffic police department, MashaAllah, their high percentage. Women is better than men up to now. MashaAllah. Based on different aspects. One of these is the great and the very illustrated traffic book that a woman has. The school, by the way, we have 4 schools in the kingdom. One in Jeddah, King Abdulaziz University, one in Jamiat Noura in Riyadh, and one in Dammam University in Dammam, and the 4th one is in Tabuk University. And I think one is for Arab, but this is but specialized for the families for Arab. But the people graduating from these 4 or 5 schools in the kingdom, MashaAllah, they are doing great efforts. They are providing a good example of defensive drivers. Sarah, MashaAllah. Also, Alhamdulillah, inshallah, in this year, lots of schools will be established, inshallah, in Makkah, in Medina, in Giza, in Najran, will be published because the traffic police department, they believe from their heart that women, they are a good example of the defensive drivers, so they would like to establish more schools. What she said about the Society for Traffic Safety, Jamia Saudiya, you saw that lots of training courses we do in the King Abdulaziz University are so welcome to attend. Here is Mr. Al-Ramadi, the manager of training section of the society, and Ms. Amani Afwa, the manager of membership. The society would love to be a member of the Society for Traffic Safety. Again, I'm so proud of Ms. Ammal Farahat because she has, mashallah, driving lessons. We are the Bornese in Kingdom of Saudi, mashallah, that one. And she was looking to develop her level, and we are so proud that she joined our society just to promote her driving skills, to promote her driving ethics, and mashallah, she does lots of things that we love to say that a good example of woman, and that providing good example for this driver working either in career or personally in the road.
First of all, thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you for the talk. That was very helpful. I have one question. I want to know what's your rating in today? Your rating in today? Is it 5.5?
Yes. Oh, wow.
That's a good question.
I know it's a bit maybe irrelevant to the subject. Do you know how would you rate your life after Germany and period woman driving? After Germany and period woman driving, for example, it didn't feel like it's a big change in your life?
I actually never really lived in Germany. I mean, I lived in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Yes. The difference between it was
Because of my family, even I've noticed when I went to university, actually I studied in the US and in the UK, alone, without the mahram. So we're 5 girls, 1 boy. My dad doesn't have enough time to go run around after each one of us. Before driving, it was always, to be honest, it was very difficult coming back. Because there I could go out, do whatever I want, whenever I wanted, and all of a sudden here, my president would ask me, okay, I have to be home by 10 o'clock at the latest. All these things, it made it very difficult. After driving, it's just like, I pushed a button, everything changed, and we have like kind of like, is this real? I don't know if that answers your question. Even how others respond has changed. There are some very few people, and men or women, that still are a bit negative. But on the whole, everybody I've encountered are always very positive. Even I'm one of the first women that, before we could drive, bought a bicycle. Actually, it was my brother that took me to buy. After I got divorced, he went to buy a bicycle, and I said, okay, I'll go with you just for the ride. He's like, try it out, why not? So that was my therapy. Going through the divorce was riding my bicycle. And on the road, it was amazing how many people were actually giving me thumbs up and asking where am I part of a group, or they want to ride a bicycle too, or women stopping me, asking me to help them learn how to ride a bike. So it changed before the driving. There was already, I'd say, Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Things started to change. Did I answer your question?
That's all. As long as you're happy now.
Oh, I've always been happy. I always believe in having choices. Even if I have to live here, then, well, I choose to be happy, or I choose to be unhappy. And there's always something you find to be happy about. For me, it's sometimes even something that's a little less, my daughter giving me a hug and saying, I love you. Or actually my son crying and wanting to sit in my lap. Well, that's happening in my day.
تفضل.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طبعا احنا بالجمعية السعودية بس نتكلم من جانب الدورات والبرامج اللي نقدمها. طبعا بعد قيادة المرأة بالسيارة قدمنا برامج جدا رائعة ما شاء الله وعليها إقبال مرة كبير. من ضمن الدورات اللي نقدمها الآن اللي هي دورة التغلب على الخوف أثناء القيادة. لأن في كثير بيخافوا يصيروا فعلنا لهم البرنامج مرة جميل. كمان عندنا زي ما ذكرت الأستاذة أمل هي أخلاقيات القيادة ومهارات السيادة الوظائفية تقريبا هذه تعطيك الكورس كامل في السلامة المرورية. يعني مثل ما نقطع رخصة في اللي هو الجانب النظري والجانب العملي. تقريبا الجانب النظري احنا بنعطيه بشكل كبير يعني الجانب النظري كمان عندنا دورة اللي هي جديدة الآن إن شاء الله نقدمها اللي هي أساسيات الميكانيكا السيارة. جميلة صراحة إن شاء الله بإذن الله في صدد الدكتور الله يسعده إن شاء الله عليه. صراحة شكر وتقدير للدكتور علي الرباعي ما شاء الله تحية قوية للدكتور. يعني كثير بيسوقوا بطلع بس ما تعرف تقطع السيارة أو كيف تدور السيارة إن شاء الله هذه الإشارات الجديدة. كمان عندنا الدولة اللي هي إعداد مدربة بالسلامة المرورية زي الأستاذة ما شاء الله أمل عندنا مثل تشوفينا ما شاء الله مدربة رائعة عندنا السلامة. كثير معنا مدربة في السلامة المرورية وكثير من دورات في السلامة المرورية. وفي برامج إن شاء الله جديدة كلها حسب احتياج المرأة. طبعا نحمد الله سبحانه وتعالى على القرار السامي على قيادة المرأة السعودية، وهذا شيء إنجاز جدا رائع عندنا في البلد. شكرا لكم وأي استفسار
ممكن ناخذ المعلومات ونحطها في انستغرام كويس عشان نقدر الناس تتواصل معنا.
في لكم كمان عندنا الحسابات الجمعية وكل شيء موجود. شكرا لكم.
آخر سؤال عشان الفترة اللي بعدها. إذا في مرة سؤال مهم، إحنا موجودين وأستاذة أمان معانا بس إنه I think we're good. طيب حبيت حقيقة أشكر أمان على البرزنتيشن والرسومات by art هبة. So her sister you can also follow. أيوة لاحظتوا السرير كده سرير art I don't know. For me, yeah, me too. But yeah. طيب we also أستاذ مهند. لا. Okay, so we were على السوشيال ميديا تبع على انستغرام CreativeMornings كنا بنحط الارتست اللوكل، فمنهم الفنان مهند تقدروا تتواصلوا معاه عن طريق الانستغرام. We were like highlighting other يعني surreal finishes or art themes around the theme. طيب شكرا يعطيك الف عافيه. مفاجأة. Okay, here's the strong women. May we know them, may we be them, may we rise them. Yes, شكرا. طيب وقت الصورة عزيز. اوكي صورة دحين بعد معلومة. ايوه audience. طيب so this is the time where if you need something from the community the Creative Mornings صح we have the talk بس مرة جزء كبير المجتمع والتواصل يعني هذا الناس هنا اكيد مرة حتتعب بعض في اشياء كثير، بس اذا تبغوا شيء تحتاجوا شيء ممكن الان فرصتكم تطلبوه بعدين بتحطوا على الانستغرام فهد اللي هنا ماسك حابين نحطه في الانستغرام تبعنا عشان الناس تقدر تدعم بعض. مثلا اليوم The Other Story Project فاطمة أختي حابة ناس يشاركوها في عملها الفني في مكان اللي هو حافظ جاليريز، فحطت على The Other Story Project التفاصيل. إذا تحبوا إنكم تدعموا اليوم يبدأوا أظن من الساعة 3 إذا ماني غلطانة، فزي كذا. بس ما قدرت تجي قالت لي إنه أطلب من الأودينس. If you have anything that you would like to ask for or now is your time. Good point. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, we طيب anyone في أحد يبغى يقول شيء؟ أيوه دكتور علي. أيوه يا ممتاز. عزيز. أوكي. تفضل.